What's up, y'all? We back at it with another chapter of Chainsaw Man, chapter 230. And my boy Denji cannot catch a break. Every time it seems like he about to get the buns, something goes wrong. Either they turn against him or they're trying to take him out or whatever the case may be. He just never has a chance to get the buns, man. I'm almost to the point where part of me is like, yo, stop focusing on it. But the other part of me is like, man, I hope he just get it so it could be done with, so that he can experience it and then we can get back to Chainsaw Man, being Chainsaw Man. But I don't know, maybe it's just me. I know a lot of people was upset with the previous chapter saying like, yo, he has a one-track mind. How can Denji not have any progression? And you got to think about it, man. Like, Denji's got to be what, between the age of 16 or 18? I don't know the exact age, but usually that's all kids focus on or all teenagers think about and talk about. They might, you might have a few out there that's like Itachi where they're thinking about the bigger picture. They're thinking about the world and the things they can change and do. But for the most part, a lot of teenagers, that's all they really think about, or talk about. They're in their little groups, they're trying to, oh, I hit it first, you know how guys are if you're a guy. You already know. So, I mean, for me, I get it. He should have smartened up by now, but at the same time, I could understand why, why he is like that. Not only that, I feel like Denji looks at, sex as a coping mechanism for all the horrors and stuff he's been through throughout his life. I feel like he thinks to himself, once he has that, he'll find true happiness. Because I feel like that's what he's truly looking for is happiness. And just based off what he's been led to believe, he's probably thinking like, yo, sex will be that. Once he has that, all of his worries, all of the problems he's been through or experienced or have will all disappear. That's just my logic on why he is the way he is. And I could be completely wrong, but that's just how I feel about it. I mean, you guys can let me know y'all take on it down below. But we're about to get into this chapter. I am currently at work right now. Hopefully you guys respect the grind. It won't be too many edits. It will be some edits, but hopefully you respect it. So let's get into it. So the chapter starts off where you got Yoru. She's up here laughing as she's sitting on top of Denji's lap saying like, yo, why do you think I avoided the dove? And of course, Denji says, what about sex? He's like, yo, I don't care about none of that other shit. I don't care about the birds, the bees, the trees, none of that shit. I want to know about the buns. We're like, yo, what's up with me getting the buns? And then she says, answer me. He says like, yo, once I had a friend who was pretty nasty devil who tried to kill me any chance she got, but she had a soft spot for animals. And he's referring to Power. Power had a soft spot for cats. As we seen at the beginning of part 2 of Chainsaw Man, when Denji saves the cat over saving a person, he's doing that because of his memories of Power. And you got it where Denji continues to say, I hoped you would be like her, where, willing to have sex, but at the same time, will avoid harming an animal. And then you have it where Yoru says, why? Denji says, why? And she replies back by saying, why did you hope I would be like her? He says, because I'm lonely and wanted a friend maybe. Denji admits that he's lonely and he feels like if he bonds with having sex, he'll bond with someone, he'll have someone to be with. I told you it's more so a coping mechanism as opposed to him just being after sex for sex. But you got it where Yoru says, you're fine with being just friends? And Denji says, I want a friend I can have sex with. She begins to laugh and says, you really are a sex-obsessed ape. That's crazy disrespectful, but so true. So true. She says, I hate Chainsaw Man, but I like you, Denji. And it's crazy because Chainsaw Man did exist before Denji. Pochita did exist before Denji. So it's understandable that she would feel like that. So she's probably conflicted on whether or not she wants to destroy him or, or be with him. Then you got it where she says, let's call a truce, for now. She gets some blood, she feeds it to Denji, and she says, yes, I'll have sex with you, Denji. I'll let you have sex with me. And then she says, Asa gives her consent too. I'm like, yo, damn. You got it where both of them want to give him the bonds. Tag team off the ropes. I don't know why. That just popped in my head. You got it where Denji's like looking at her in his Chainsaw Man form, and then he instantly turns back to normal. He has, I don't know if this is like sweat or wet or tears or what running down him. But you got it where he's looking at her as she's sitting on top of his lap. And he's like, hell yeah. He said, I'm about to get the buns. Nothing else matters right now. He grabs her, he holds her, he's hugging her, and he's just like, yo, we about to do the damn thing. But next thing you know, as that happens, you got a bunch of demons heading in the direction of Denji and Yoru. And, you know, it's a bunch of them. One of them looks familiar. I'm not exactly sure, but they get their own panel showcasing their face. It's 3 of them. I'm not sure if they are familiar. Let me know down below. Maybe I just don't remember. And then as that goes on, they show other parts of the world where they show insects, you know what I'm saying, flying and covering the skies. And you got it where these insects, as well as bats and just other creatures, they're just everywhere, pretty much harming anyone within the area. Canada, America, they're just all over, just devouring people. And you got it where they jump to, what's her name, Fumiko? She's standing there on the phone talking to another version of herself. Remember, she's allowed to make copies of herself by having, you know what I'm saying, doing the deed with other people, and they become her copies, which is crazy. Like, yo, I think she got that power from the STD devil, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's the STD devil. I could be wrong. But anyway, you got it where she explains because there is no death, all these creatures that are reproducing, you know what I'm saying, the creatures that they reproduce aren't dying. Their offsprings aren't dying. So you have hordes of locusts. You got hordes of bats, all types of animals that reproduce too fast, you know, that would normally die off because of time, aren't dying because there is no death. And you have it where that's putting the world itself in quite the predicament. You got it where these people are being devoured by these insects, these bats or whatever, you know, these other creatures. And because they can't die, they're just living in a world of torment and pain and agony, which is crazy. I didn't even think of that as an outcome because of not having death. But to see that this is actually going down, the world itself has become worse because Denji devoured death. Now, he's going to have to spit death up at some point because the world is going to become overpopulated. There's not going to be no space. All the resources is going to be gone. Not only are the insects and the animals are going to do that, but you're going to have it where humans are going to keep reproducing and their offsprings aren't going to die. And the world is going to be just truly crowded. It's going to be a real hell, so to speak. Well, anyway, you got it where it jumps back to Yoru and Yoru, Asa, and Denji. And you got it where Yoru says, it's so many of them. Denji, we're too low on blood. We need to flee now. And then Denji says, like hell, we're going to run away. Right, Pochita? We're finally going to get to have sex. Denji is so focused on sex, he's like not going to let anyone detour him from actually getting the draws. He's like, yo, I'll take on anybody in order to get the draws. It does not matter. So then he goes to pull his cord. He says, if you're going to get in our way, and then as he's about to pull the cord, he kind of like forgets what's going on. He says, how does it go again? And he stops. Now, I don't know if this is the effect of one of the devils that's surrounding him, or if Denji's just that focused on the buns where he can't concentrate. I hope it's the effect of a devil, because if it's him being so focused on the buns that he can't concentrate, man, hey, look, this boy, he needs to be stopped. He needs to be stopped. But let me know y'all thoughts on this chapter. How do y'all feel about Denji actually wanting the buns because he's lonely and he's looking at it as a way to, you know what I'm saying, get over his loneliness? It's a coping mechanism. Do you think that's the case? Do you think it's even more to it? Or do you think it's just simply he want the buns? You know, let me know y'all thoughts down below on this one. And if you like the video, thumb it up. Please subscribe. Hit the bell, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.